raise hand. Like you could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a new button
Well,
now.
maybe you know what? Mine might have that because I got this.
I got a button to record down here now. And it's also a button to say raise hand. And there's another button that says question and answers.
Yeah, I
And I
got
do
question and
see
answer.
5 participants right now. Which is, let me see who's in here.
We have
Anna
2.
Mitchell and C. Hamilton is in here.
Mhm.
But I see participants, chat.
Dr.
What?
Bundy's.
It's saying 3. Oh, Dr.
Yeah.
Dr. Bundy. Dr. Bundy's in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I see
Okay, good.
participants, chat, share screen, record, raise hand, question and answering.
Okay.
And
So
just yeah.
What I'm getting ready setting up
hold on.
the live on Facebook, and then I'll start the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
So
Doing it a little bit before 7 so that it'll be ready for 7.
okay.
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
My background is still okay. It's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Do you have hydraulics on that chair, or is it just
No.
there? Okay.
No.
All right.
I got
Okay.
the no, because I changed my chair.
Okay. All right. So we're
There's too
streaming
many
on.
buttons for this go live. No, not yet.
It says webinars now streaming live on Facebook.
Yeah, what we
We're
know
out
now
here
is
because I see
we're
it.
out here.
Okay.
Hey y'all.
Hey everybody.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hey, let me share.
Happy New Year.
Oh no, we'll move you over. Just in a few minutes. We'll move you over. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so it's going live now.
One
As
sec,
you can
y'all.
see, these still are not professionals at this.
No. But we working on it.
Hi Joanna, Happy New Year. And we are starting.
Yeah.
Welcome to What We Know Now Wednesday, Myths, Truths, and Solutions About Hair Loss with Dana Wilson, Lori Huckabee, and Tamima Ali, the hair advocates.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome
Hey,
everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Seems like
Year.
forever.
It has been forever.
It's been a long
Please
time.
start your watch parties, everybody. Please share the link so that you can invite your friends to enjoy and share on this show today. We are so happy to be back. It seemed like forever. So if you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Dana Wilson of Hair Cares Inc. I'm located in Hopewell, Virginia. I am a certified trichologist. I'm also a Sister Lock master trainer. More importantly, I am a hair loss survivor as well. So I share with some of you guys. My professional and personal mission is to support and encourage anyone who's experiencing hair loss or any kind of scalp disorder that you don't have to suffer in silence. There's help and treatments and advances out here for you. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey everyone, I am Tamima Ali, also a certified trichologist. I am located in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm with Advanced Hair Growth Clinic. I get to the root of your hair loss and scalp disorder. My goal is to help as many people as possible to look and feel beautiful. Let me help you be your most healthy self.
Hey everybody, how are you? Happy New Year. So good to be back. Share, start a watch party, come in the Zoom room, join us. Today is going to be really great. My name is Lori Huckabee. I'm a certified trichologist, a licensed cosmetologist and cosmetology instructor, certified sister law consultant. And um, uh, my goal is to help people to revive and renew their scalp health and to restore and regrow their hair. And I'm really passionate about what I do. And as the three of us combined make up your hair advocates, we are here to help you as your one-stop shop for hair regrowth and restoration. Thanks for joining.
So we have a special guest today. Um, Dr. Shannon Bundy. She is from the Wellness Way team. So we are so happy to have her. Today, she's going to be sharing with us about autoimmune diseases and how that impacts hair loss. But more importantly, she is really here to share with us about her philosophy around the healthcare system. Um, as we know, people are getting sicker and sicker, and she is of the mindset that you need to really understand your body and be a part of making the decision making around your health. So it's not enough to just take pills, and there's no one size fits all scenario in regards to how she feel about health. So we're so happy to have Dr. Bundy. Hey,
Welcome.
yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here.
For inviting me. This is awesome.
Yes, it's great. Great to have you. She's the best.
It's good to put a face with the name and all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
I I am I'm honored to be here. I know you guys have kind of done some interviews with the Wellness Way before and different
Yes.
perspectives, and I'm all on board with everything you guys are teaching, and we really do need more people helping educate on hair loss because it is so
Yes.
common in women, and there's a reason it's so common. So it has to get way more attention than what it's getting right now. So thank you guys for what you're doing.
Thank
Thank you.
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 Dr. Bundy, I'm so sure I didn't give you enough justice. If you can please share with us a little bit about your background, that'd be great.
Great. Yeah. So I am a doctor of chiropractic. So you might be saying, what does a chiropractor have to do with hair loss?
Right.
That's because we are a part of the Wellness Way as well, which the Wellness Way is an organization that works with a different form of healthcare, and we do our own training and our own certifications. So we do very detailed lab work. That's what we're known for. So we help women with anything, women and men, children, anyone with hormones or gut health. So we do that with very specialized testing, from blood work to urine samples to stool collections, saliva. I mean, you name it, we test it. And we don't test it just for testing's sake. What we're testing is very thorough because we're
Okay.
trying to understand the full story. A lot of testing that people come to me with, they're only getting bits and pieces. And usually they're coming from a medical mindset. Not that I'm anti-medical, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But they're coming from a medical mindset where they're looking to measure the numbers that they can manipulate with medication. And
Got
that's
it.
not what we want. What we want is to understand the story from where the river started to how it's flowing to the bottom, and what is the problem that this person isn't able to do what their God-given body is meant to do. So that is what we really focus on, is helping people understand the full picture of their health so that they can take control versus being dependent on a medication and then dealing with the side effects. And it's just kind of this vicious cycle that doesn't seem to actually help the problem that you originally were going for in the first place.
Oh, that sounds really that sounds really good. I mean, truly. So this is a whole person concept, holistic way of doing things. That
Absolutely.
is
Yep.
great.
That is our ultimate goal, is that this is what health really should be based on. And I think we've just gotten in a system of everybody fits a box, everybody fits a protocol, everyone fits an age limit. And if you don't fit that, then you're kind of either shoved off to the side, or you're told it's in your mind, or you're told even worse, like, yeah, this is just your normal. And so we're trying to help people get away from that. And honestly, I think what I do is fairly simple and straightforward. It's just, we've been trained to think one way for so long that taking a step back and coming back to the basics is almost foreign to us at this point.
Right.
So when you do all this testing, and I understand you saying, so you do all this testing, you find out what might be the root cause of what's going on. You guys don't prescribe medication. So then what do? What is the prescription? Is lifestyle changes?
Yeah, but I would say back to the basics. We're really
Mhm.
helping people understand how their food, let food be thy medicine, how they
Okay.
should be eating dependent on what their specific issue is that they're dealing with. We treat mainly with herbs, and we call it the 3 T's. So toxin, traumas, and thoughts is toxins is, the foods that we're eating, the medications that we're on, the environment that we are in. Thoughts is the stress, which is huge with the autoimmune and hair loss world. And then the trauma is more of the physical, the chiropractic background that I have. Basically, all three of those categories cause inflammation and they're triggers for every individual, some more than others. And so our goal is to help them find that trigger, understand how to remove that trigger out of their system so that their body can thrive and do the best that it should be able to do without any dependency on other things.
So it sounds like to me with this way of doing business, this is a long-term scenario in regards to changing someone's health, right? Whereas a
Exactly.
medication, I mean, you got it right on the spot, you get some sort of relief. However, there is side effects to those medications. But this sounds like a more long-term lifestyle change that will ultimately help someone's health.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
that's really what we want to help people is that we've been trained to go to the doctor when we're sick and when something is really wrong. And that's not what health is. Health isn't that you go to the doctor when you're sick. Health is constantly tuning in with your body and understanding its needs and demands because we're living in a more stressful environment than we've ever lived before. And I mean that emotionally and chemically. And
Mhm.
we want to help people shift that perspective of always tuning in with your body and understanding what the demands are so that you can live your best life. Because right now we're dying younger than we've ever died before. It used to be we were living longer. Now we're
Right.
getting back on that. Cancer's on the rise, autoimmune's on the rise, chronic diseases in children is on the rise, heart disease is on the rise. So we really have to take a step back and be like, is this the best way? Like, I think we're just kind of stuck in a rut and we've been doing things one way for way too long. So it is more of a lifestyle. It's not a trend or a fad diet.
Right.
It's really educating people on how empowering, like your body actually wants to serve you. It wants to be healthy. It wants to do a good job. But because we have so many new stressors in our body and we're just taught to ignore them and take a drug, people are just sicker than ever.
Got it. So someone can come to you guys in a preventative measure, basically, just to see what might be brewing,
Yeah.
right?
I would love that. That would be awesome.
Okay.
Usually people when they're really sick and they're at the end of their rope because they've tried every drug on the planet and it hasn't fixed them. So we help them get back to those basics and get healthy. But I occasionally get someone who's being proactive and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. So I would love for that to be the future of healthcare. For example, thinking of, hair loss, even for young women, they're getting it younger and younger that
Right.
I think in a perfect health system world, we would be checking teenagers when they get their cycles, checking their hormones immediately.
Got it.
Because that's where a lot of problems start. I cannot say how many women come in that, oh, I've never had a normal period. You've never had a normal period and you've never had your hormones tested until now. Like
Mhm.
that's way too long. You're talking 20, 30 years of damage and they've never been anything but birth control, which don't even get me started on birth control. So is going to start a problem. But that would be an ideal system where we're checking people proactively at teenagers are getting their hormones checked and making sure that whatever stress environment that they've been raised in, that they're getting successful so that by the time they're ready to have children, they can have healthy babies because healthy moms make healthy babies and sick moms make sick babies. So it's like we're making each other sicker and sicker through every generation.
It sounds so scary. I mean, it's so scary, but it also sounds hopeful, obviously, as well. Look,
Yeah.
my
So,
goodness.
so Dr. Bundy, how does autoimmune issues like what are how does that come into play, and what are some of the symptoms or beginning symptoms and signs that people would recognize or may have to even go to the doctor to say, hey, something's wrong?
Yeah, so I would say that autoimmune, I mean, just some facts about autoimmune, it is becoming the number one killer in women between the ages of 30 and 40.
Mm,
It's the most undiagnosed. Most women will visit 5 to 7 doctors before they're properly diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. And
wow.
most of the time, they are told that it's a chronic fatigue syndrome or something basically psychological. And they're not taken very seriously on it. So, autoimmune doesn't have to be this really big, dramatic, life changing experience. It can be the I don't feel right. And I would say that if you're
Mm,
feeling that I don't feel right, there's something going on. Women are very in tune with their bodies because, I mean, chemically, we are made that way. We have more hormones than men for a reason. And that's what gives us, we have hormones that connect us to people, which is why we have those motherly instincts. But we also, because we have so many hormones, all it takes is a 1 to 2 hormones to be out of whack for us to say this doesn't feel right, like something is really wrong with me. Versus men are very simple. Even though we have the same hormones, we don't have the same amount, right? So men have very minimal hormones compared to us. So that's why men never go to the doctor. It's partially, yeah, they're stubborn, but the other part is as long as their two little hormones are trucking away, they really do feel fine. So that's a really big difference between men and women. So women, if you feel like something's not right, you need to follow that. And unfortunately, with the healthcare system that we're under, you have to be your own health advocate and you have to really push that you know something's not right. I mean, if you're coming here, you're not going to have to push because I'm already going to believe you from the first appointment. But in the medical world, it's an uphill battle for women, unfortunately.
mm,
So yeah, I would say it's as simple as that. But when it comes to just autoimmune in general, what are some of the most common signs and symptoms?
mm-hmm.
Everything would be from energy. That's probably number one. That's probably the
Okay.
very first thing people feel is I can't say how many women will say like all they could think about is like where's the nearest couch, where's the nearest chair. I really feel like I would benefit from a nap. Like they don't feel like they can make it a day. You should be able to make it throughout the day feeling like you're pretty self-sufficient. Other problems might be that they're not sleeping well, like maybe they're sleeping but they're not feeling rested when they wake up in the morning. Hair loss can be a sign of autoimmune. If you're, there's 4 types of hair loss. I'm sure you guys have educated your public on that, but there's the genetic, which the genetic can be the genetic, right? So like my husband's bald completely and he's in his 30s. Like it is what it is for him. His entire family's bald. But if you notice that you're losing things in patches or clumps, right? Like that's definitely something that could be hormonal or gut related. And it doesn't have to be like chunks like we see in the movies, like, they'll put their hands through the hair, but it
Right.
can be just like excessive, like you're washing and it's like maybe you've got a couple of strands because you're always losing hair, but you should always be regrowing hair too. So if you're just noticing like excess of hair, that could be that there's an immune issue going on as well. And then I would say even like your skin, if you're noticing like your skin's not looking really healthy, your nails aren't looking really healthy, that can be a gut immune issue as well.
Mhm. Can you share some examples of autoimmune diseases and what does that really mean?
Yeah, so examples, the most common one, I think the buzzword that when people hear thyroid, that's probably the number one most common one and the one most related to hair. So that could be Hashimoto's, hypothyroid, hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease. Those are
Mm-hmm.
thyroid alone. And then we have things like rheumatoid arthritis or celiac disease is also autoimmune, and that's extremely, extremely common. There's PCOS, endometriosis, which those are more hormonal, specific
Mm-hmm.
women. So those are probably the most common buzzwords that you'll hear in the autoimmune community, but really there's an unlimited amount. They're so specific these days with the diagnosis. And then what was the other question you asked me? Sorry.
I was saying, what does that mean? What does
Oh,
autoimmune
so what does
disease mean?
autoimmune mean? That's a
Yeah.
great question. What we're taught in the medical world is that autoimmune means that your body has made a mistake and now it's kind of like almost like tripped on itself and it is therefore attacking itself. Here
Okay.
at the Wellness Way, we definitely disagree with that because we don't believe the body makes mistakes. We believe that there's triggers that have not been found. And because that trigger has not been removed from the body is constantly trying to save your life. And sometimes, and when it comes to saving your life, it has to choose to destroy healthy cells. Uh,
Got it.
So that's really important to understand the difference, because your body just wouldn't attack itself. It doesn't do that. And that's what we're taught. And so a lot of women, especially, will feel guilty, or they'll feel like they're broken and that something's wrong with them. And that's not the true. It's just we haven't taken the time to figure out what's the trigger for you. I think with thyroid, for example, a really big trigger that people don't know is like gluten. Thyroid patients are statistically and studied very well that they do not handle gluten well, even though technically they're not celiacs, right? Which celiacs is where you can't handle gluten or grains.
Right.
They're not technically celiacs or gluten, but they're very, very sensitive to it. And it's research that just one bite of gluten can show an inflammation process in their system for 6 months. Right.
Wow.
Yep.
Mhm.
So it can be really confusing when you're told, oh, you have your thyroid autoimmune, and then they just hyper focus on your thyroid, but they're not
Right.
taking into account that even just your diet of eating healthy, maybe full healthy bread is still something that is really affecting you. So is it that your body is attacking itself, or it's that you keep doing the trigger unintentionally? And so your body is having to choose which one is going to make her live longer. An example I love to give is, let's say like you have a gut infection, which is actually more common than people think,
Mhm.
and but you're exhausted all the time. Is your body going to choose to address the infection, which could kill you faster, or is it gonna choose to give you unpotential energy but allow that infection to thrive? The body
Right.
only understands survival, so it
Right.
will say, well, I have to get rid of this infection because this will kill us faster. So I'm going to pay attention to the infection, which is going to lower her energy levels, but that's more important. And maybe it'll give her a signal like, hey, something's wrong here. You need to pay attention to me. And so we see this as like the body attacking us, but actually the body is doing everything it can
It
do
possibly
to
can
give
do.
us, yeah, to give us full survival and thrive. But until we move those triggers, it can only work with what it's given.
Right. And
That's a huge mindset shift. I
yes,
Mhm.
mean,
that's a great
yes,
that's a great way of explaining it, because
yes,
when most people, if you were to ask 10 people, nine of them are going to give the definition of autoimmune as what you just said. The body is attacking itself. Like,
right.
there is no other definition given besides that one.
Yeah.
And the way you just explained it makes great sense, because that's
Mm,
kind of like what we do, how we address hair loss is getting to
the
the
root.
root cause. And a lot of people don't like to hear that the root cause is not shampoo and conditioner.
Yeah.
It's deeper than that, meaning that it came from the inside. Even as something as simple as dandruff,
Yeah.
it could be caused by something that you ate, or something else internal that's off with your body, and that's producing these excess cells. So,
Right.
what would you say about how important is it for the, like your specific minerals and nutrients, like your sodium and potassium levels and things, like how do those, vitamin D and vitamin B, how do those affect autoimmune conditions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, a lot of autoimmune conditions can be considered hormonal. Like when we talk about the thyroid, I bring that one up the most just because it's the most associated with
Right.
that actually, even with my thyroid patients, I will always tell them we have to look at your gut. We can't just pay attention to your thyroid. So I love the example of that. I had another doctor tell me once that it's seeds versus gardening. So whenever we just throw in like biotin is really popular for like trying to regrow hair, right? That's the one you'll hear the most about. And then like your vitamin A, B, C's, and D's, right? But if you don't have a healthy gut, and you're just taking that stuff, it's like you took a bunch of seeds and you just threw them in the grass and hope that they grow, right? But if you really want to benefit from those extra minerals and vitamins, you've got to change the soil and put, make sure you're watering it and plant the seeds deep and watch it every
Right.
day. Like that's where you're actually going to get the benefit of that. So the reason that any of my autoimmune patients come in, I will almost always have to do a stool test and a hormone test on them, because I have to see
Mm,
if the gut can even handle, changing their diet. They might be eating kale and lettuce and spinach every single day, but if they don't have a healthy gut And if they're inflamed and they're not even absorbing and digesting all that nice food they're paying for, what's the point? We're not going to
Wow.
get anywhere. So we have to see what's going on with the gut, restore and help build the gut, and then we can start talking about extra things that are helpful, like the vitamins and the nutrients and the biotin that you could get the benefit from. But that's why a lot of people will say, you'll have one person that's like, oh, I really benefited from biotin, or changing my diet a little bit, and other people will be like, that didn't do crap for me. Well, that's because it has to be person specific, and there's no such thing as a magic pill and a one size fits all. So there's lots of things that like really help and feed the thyroid, like iron and the almost all the ones that you said actually. But if you're not healthy enough to even absorb it, that's going to be a problem. And something just to think about that's a kind of on that same topic is metals, knowing like how much metal and toxicity you're being exposed to. Like if you do have metal in the mouth, that
Mhm.
does block the vitamins and nutrients, because we need copper, we need iodine, we need selenium, which are all metal based. But if you have been exposed to heavy metals, or even if you're having metals in your teeth and they've been there for years and you've never thought they're a problem,
Yes.
those irons will actually try to protect you, and they will go to detoxifying the body instead of going to feeding the thyroid so you have a healthy thyroid in the first place. So there's a lot of layers to that, which can be stressful for people, but that's why it's important to do the testing and to look at the whole picture of what's going on, so that if you're spending all your money on all these really good things, you're actually getting the most bang for your buck.
Right. That's what we that is one thing that is really hard to get through when you're talking to clients and
Mhm.
patients, is that um like how important that is. And when you're talking about, we got to start at the gut. What does the gut have to do with my hair loss? Everything, because everything starts there.
Yep,
Like you said, if you're not absorbing the vitamins, minerals, nutrients that you need to, you can take all that stuff all day long and it's not going to do you any good.
exactly.
And everybody's different. So like you said, what works for one person may not work for another person, because their digestive or gut situation may be different.
Exactly.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that's really
Wow.
good.
So clearly, I can understand how all of this impacts autoimmune disease, impact hair loss. But if you can share with the audience, that would be great. Like, how does this impact hair loss?
Well, you have to remember just like some basic 101 with hair is that usually the healthier the blood flow to the hair follicle is what's going to help with the growth of that hair follicle.
Right.
So if you just start with basics, what stops blood flow? Stress on the immune system. And that can be emotionally or physically. If you think about fight or flight, right? You get that adrenaline rush if someone's about to hit you, right? That is a way that your body will suck the blood basically to the organs, the survival part, put you in a place of self-defense, and then, or run out of the situation. So every time that you are stressed, which stress is one of the most common ways people become autoimmune, okay, it's almost, especially that's why women have it more. Women are
Right.
way more likely
Mm.
to have autoimmune than men, because we stress more than men do. And when
Yes.
women stress, it highly affects our hormones, versus men are not as affected hormonally when they get stressed. So
Mhm.
that's the like the domino effect that we have, that one, we're women, two, we have more hormones, three, we stress more, four, that makes us more likely to be autoimmune. And it just keeps kind of going down this pattern. And
Right.
that's so just the basics, like you're blocking blood flow every time you stress, and you're stressing the immune system, which is causing an autoimmune reaction, and that alone can block that growth to the blood getting to the hair follicle and allowing the growth. Versus you can but the best way to say it is you can fast forward how much hair you lose. You cannot fast forward how much hair you grow. So
Right.
the more that you stress, you can, all that hair will come out, no problem. The body will just kill it off. But to try to speed up the growth process doesn't happen.
Yeah,
It's
not
back to
happening.
the, yep. You have to really take care of yourself, remove the triggers, make sure you're, as healthy for your individual body. and then slowly but surely you will regrow that hair back. So that's how autoimmune ties into hair loss. And you don't even have to be autoimmune, honestly. If you are a constant
Right.
stressor, that alone can make your hair fall out, which is so hard as a woman to tell a woman don't stress. It's like those are
Yeah, that's like
they're telling you not to stress, but it's something that we have to work on. And it's not that I'm saying don't stress. I'm saying you have to have healthier ways
To
to support
manage. Yeah.
stress. And the healthier you are, the easier it is to manage the stress that you're in as well.
Right. Right.
you said a
Because
whole lot there.
yeah, and then not to mention if people already have issues, the high blood pressure and
Mm.
glucose and insulin. If you have poor blood, it's even hard to get that. The blood is already bad,
Yep.
let alone try to get it circulating, and just it's just like you said, a whole domino effect. So
Exactly. Yeah, we're not even getting into the nitty gritty of,
right,
depending on what specific issue and how long it's been going on and how sick you are, how long we're talking about seeing that hair growth come back. So it's I mean, if you think about it, hair is already technically dead by the time it's touching the
Right.
surface. So it
Right.
is the easiest thing. If your body's going to choose, well, stress is going to give us a heart attack and stress is going to kill us, or her hair.
Right.
I don't give a crap about her hair.
right,
All of my focus on making sure she lives as long as she possibly can. So the body, again, it's always going to pick survival. It doesn't care about appearances. It's not worried about that. That's the
yeah,
last thing I'm concerned about.
exactly.
Wow, that's I mean, obviously I know that, but hearing you say this and using these analogies and breaking it down so simply is like a whole mindset shift here.
Awesome.
I'm
It's
so
already it's confirmation. It's confirmation for me. Thank you.
right, right.
Because it's what we. I mean, it's what I
Yeah, it
say. All
is.
it's what I say all the time. It's what I try to teach and preach, if you will, to the clients that we see. Like this is a real thing.
Yeah,
It's not just me talking, and we are not quick to try to sell products because it's not products that's going to help you. It's you, like you said, there is no magic pill. You're the magic pill. How
exactly.
well you take care of yourself, or how you're, how well you treat your body is what's going to make the difference in not just your hair, but your overall health.
Overall health.
Your
Yeah.
overall health is what's important, and then everything else is going to go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I hear ringing in my mind is preventative health.
Mhm.
Preventative. So even if hair loss is not your issue now, or it's just
Right.
not your issue right now, it will benefit you greatly just to get a preventative checkup, testing and things of that nature, just to make sure nothing's brewing in the background or something that's not going to come up here later or soon.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, and and just making sure you're specific, because that's the
right,
other problem is a lot of these tests that they're doing in the medical world. I mentioned this in the beginning. It's very manipulative. They're just saying,
yeah,
oh, well, you have, estrogen dominance can be a reason that people lose hair, for example.
right,
They might say, oh, let's just put you on an estrogen blocker. Well, is that really
Right.
the problem? Is it that you're making too much estrogen? Why are you making too much estrogen?
right.
We need to take about 5 steps back to really look at what's going on in the first place. So I don't know many medical doctors, unfortunately, that have that mindset. You really have to dig. And I only know the wellness way, really, that will take the time to look at those 5 steps back, because we're not looking to manipulate. We're trying to understand, why are you having this overproduction or underproduction issue, so that your body can do what it was intended to do. And I think hair loss, I think most women struggle with hair loss on a certain degree. So if you even notice that it just seems like it's not the same since you've had kids, you should just get it checked out. Don't wait for it to get to an
Right.
extreme point, because then you have to wait for the growing process to happen. That's slow going. It's slow going.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. We always say that, even if it just, you can't even articulate it, but it just seems something is different. You need
Yeah.
to check it out sooner than later. Sooner
Yeah.
than later. Well, Dr. Bundy, thank you so much. Unless you guys have more questions for Dr. Bundy,
Come on
Um,
in and ask the
th-
questions. I think
yes,
we
please.
have a lot of viewers. It looks like I can't really tell, but it looks like we do. So, and I know
This,
it's a couple people um in the Zoom room. So if you guys have questions, please feel free to ask. You can put them in, or you can ask to be part of the. Come on in if you like, but um,
please
ask.
ask your questions while you can.
I know.
Um,
Ask them while you
uh,
can.
Clearly, she has a
It's
wealth
not
of
every
knowledge
day
here.
you get a doc that's willing to, address your questions and talk to you like this. It's rare.
And if they end up having more questions, I think
Yes, we have your information and we'll be sharing it at the.
I'm pretty good about being on my social media to the, so the public does have access to me. And I'm probably going to do a live right after this to recap everything what I just talked about. But they're welcome to private message me on there if they're too shy to come on here and ask questions. That's fine too.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
We
Thank
love
you
the
for
wellness
sharing
way.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just amazed at the philosophy, just the thinking is totally different with you all with conventional medicine. And I'm always thinking about, well, how did you even consider this way
Mhm.
outside of the conventional medicine? Like, what inspired you to go this way? I mean, obviously you were a chiropractor, so
I would say I think chiropractors in general, we're a different breed. Like we're all kind of born with this like innate we just know there has to be something more, and I don't think I take any personal credit for it, because I will say Dr. Patrick, he's the one who started the Wellness Way.
right,
And I feel like he's just really good at helping people have that different perspective of like, why wouldn't your body want to do that? And I think it just comes from, we're just so brainwashed to think we're designed to dysfunction, and because everyone else feels crappy, that's what we should all feel. And just because something's common, that doesn't make it normal.
right,
That's something I always knew in my heart, but I didn't know how to display that until really I found the Wellness Way. I was trying to do that, but the testing, I think, is the icing on the cake of like, you can measure it. I'm not just saying it, I'm not asking you to have faith in me. Like, let's measure this and then we can reproduce that. And that's allowed us to connect those bridges, because if people don't know, like the Wellness Way is not just my office. There's 80 locations just in the United States alone. And so our long term, our legacy is that we want to change healthcare. We really do. We don't want it to just be us. We want to be able to just help, change this sick care system into a better healthcare system. So it's been a work in progress of us all trying to be, how can we communicate this clearly? And it's only benefited us doing that extra homework and research, because I'll tell you, we're all just hustlers all the way, trying to just stay on top of the most research. And
right,
honestly, when you're going to bringing it back to the basics, it's not that hard. It's really just more helping people have that mental shift of
right.
accountability is really important. And we've kind of lost that in our current healthcare system.
Hmm. Ask the question why. Why?
Mhm.
Why
Yeah,
is the question? Not just take the pill. Why should I be doing this? Right.
exactly.
Hmm. Well, Dr. Bundy, you gave us a mouthful, a mindful. But our show is called What We Know Now. We always ask our guests, what do you know now about hair loss or hair growth? Although you shared so much already.
I would say what I know now about hair growth is that it's simpler than you want it to be. And it can just be as simple as, if you don't have a penny to your name, just start looking at your diet. Start cutting gluten, start cutting sugar, start being really thoughtful with what you put in your mouth, because you eat more than you do anything else. So
Yeah.
that it would be my free wisdom to you, is just start looking at what are some whole foods that you can start with, and then save up to that next step of getting more specialized testing so that you can get some of those answers. But just the diet alone could be huge for your health. And to be patient, don't expect miracles. To be patient while you're
Right.
getting, if you're feeling good from just those diet changes, then your hair is growing. Let's just put it that way. If you're feeling better, your hair is probably growing, but you're not going to see that instantaneously.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
I
you
think
so much.
someone has a question before you go. Her name is Kelly. I'm going to let her go ahead and speak. Kelly, we can hear you. Do you have a question?
Unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi.
I remember Dr. Bundy mentioned that if we have a poor gut, or I guess a leaky gut, then taking certain nutrients like biotin and the other vitamins and minerals won't actually benefit as much because we won't be able to absorb it. So that's something I've been researching and trying to figure out, I guess, on my own at this point. How would I go about fix that issue?
Okay, so how would you go about fixing that issue is probably if you're already suspicious that you have something going on, again, the testing is just going to be able to help you be more specific because there's lots of things that can be going on in the gut. Like something I have to help people understand is that it doesn't start with leaky gut, right? You don't just get leaky gut. The better
Right.
question is, how did I get leaky gut? And
Right.
most people get leaky gut from low stomach acid. And so low stomach acid can be stopped by stress because it's a decrease of blood flow. So there's that stress word again. It can be if you're on chronic medications that prevent you from making stomach acid, and it can be a poor diet. So those would be the first three things I would look at. There's always the alkaline theory that people are always like, oh, alkaline water and make your body more alkaline. Again, this is where the Wellness Way has a very different perspective that we don't agree on that. Most people are not acidic enough, and it starts in the stomach. So basically, if you ask somebody, what does the stomach do? They'll say, oh, it's digestion. Kind of. It actually is a giant acid pit. And what its main job is to do is to demolish whatever hits the stomach. So if it does that, it needs to be really acidic in there. And then it will break down that food down to a protein and move it along to digestion and absorption. So whenever you're talking about wanting to take biotin or you're worried you have leaky gut, again, my free advice would be cut the gluten, cut cow dairy, really. And cow dairy, let me just say a rant about that. I don't have anything against cows. Okay. It's that in America, we have to heat cow milk before serving it to the public because of the bacteria. And when we do that, we denature it. And most people, I tell them, if you're not lactose now, you will be because of those denatured proteins mess up our gut. So that's why in Europe they can have cheese all day long because they don't do that. They don't process their food the same way that we do. So basic free things you could do is cutting the gluten, cutting cow dairy, so you can still have goat and sheep because they don't do that, and watching your sugar intakes, and then start introducing like apple cider vinegar, right? Or digestive enzymes to help with that digestion. And then you can start doing the extra benefits like what Lori was talking about, like your biotin, your vitamin C's, your B's, your D's, right? Those are all just extra, chef's kiss, icing on the cake kind of thing.
Did that help you, Kelly?
Let me unmute my. Yes, that helped a lot. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Question.
That was a good question.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm. Anyone else have a question?
I don't know anybody online.
I think
Oh,
there's
we,
one.
What do
No, I
well,
don't see any questions
I
online.
do. It's
I
one
just,
right here in the chat. What do you
mhm.
think about probiotics?
Yeah, that's a great question. A very common question. Again, this is why I do love a stool test because I've seen the good and bad of probiotics. The stool test that we run will actually measure how much good bacteria do you have and how much bad bacteria do you have. So, for example, I had a patient that came in. This isn't hair related, but gut related. Okay. I had a patient who came in who was having chronic, severe diarrhea. And she was like, I'm taking my probiotics, I'm taking all this stuff and it just seems like it's only getting worse. So when we did a stool test on her, we found out that she actually had an abundance of bacteria, too much bacteria. So the probiotic was actually making her specific situation worse. So we had to cut the probiotics and we actually had to help kill off some of the bacteria because she had an overgrowth to the point of an infection. So it again, that's why I'm biased to the testing because I can be
Yes.
so specific versus speaking in generals. In generals, probiotics are usually a good thing. My advice in generals would be living bacteria. So that means that you need a bacteria that can be in the refrigerator. If you're taking something that's just off of the shelf, that's dead bacteria. You're not really going to get your full bang for your buck. It's better to spend the extra money and get something that's in a refrigerator. But if you would like to be more specific, definitely a probiotic can be really beneficial depending if you are deficient in bacteria.
Mhm. Mhm. And Dr. Bundy, don't you think that sometimes, okay, so I would say, I would say that a true statement is that most people like to self-treat,
Mhm.
whether something is wrong or not. But they'll go and take, because they heard that this is good for digestion, this is good for muscle, this is good for pain, or this is good for whatever. They go and take all these supplements,
Yeah.
and sometimes you can you may not even need to be taking those things. Like you said, the person already had too much bacteria in her gut, so that caused the problem too. Even though she had the bacteria, she had too much of it, so it caused an adverse reaction than what she was trying to get. So don't you think that sometimes with the self treat, and just because something is good, you may not even need it. Maybe you should get tested first to see if that's something that you even need to be taking.
Exactly. That's why I'm so biased to the testing because it just helps me be really specific. And I think about how much money people spend on supplements. And if you just saved your money and bought a test, like we would be so much further along. I'm amazed at the list people bring me because
Yes.
most of the people that I get, most patients that I get, they're educated. They've done their homework. They've done their research. They
Mhm.
know more herbs than I probably know because they're looking up every little website and every little thing.
Are
But
you seeing the same people we see? No, I'm just
yeah, right. Are we all
joking.
so that they're very educated, but they're taking. I mean, I literally had a woman the other day who brought in and printed out all her supplements, and I had to flip. I had to flip. That's how many supplements that she was taking, and I was like, "How do you even know what's helping you?" Like,
Right.
I get trying to get things, but if we think of it from a God point of view, like we have all this amazing food that has a lot of these vitamins and nutrients in them. So if we're investing in good foods, a lot of that you're going to get instead of individually trying to take each little supplement because that's actually more foreign to your body. And it goes back to that example I gave earlier of the seeds versus gardening. That if you're eating from the garden, you're getting that natural food and the benefits of the zinc and the copper and all that. Versus if you're taking iodine and copper and selenium and magnesium, I mean, it is foreign to the body when you're putting it in a tablet form. So the more natural you can get it, the better. And two, yes, the self medicating, we can't help it. I mean, there's too much research out there, good and bad,
Right.
that people want to try to take it into their own hands, which, I think there's benefits to educating yourself on how to be healthier. But if you find yourself taking a ton of supplements, you're missing what's really going on with you and you're being too in general and you're not really getting the benefit that you need. So that's why I will always be biased to the testing.
Right. Right. Especially, and sometimes they take all of that stuff and they still have the complaint of something.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that means
That point,
whatever
it's
you're
like
doing is not working.
exactly. And I think like my favorite thing to say is that, it's like, what is the difference at that point? If you have to take a medication to poop or an herb to poop, what's the difference? You should just be able to poop on your own, right? Like
Right.
if you are dependent on a drug or if you're dependent on an herb to function, there's a problem. You're missing the step where you should have taken a step back and said, why can I not function on my own in the first place?
Right. Right. Mm.
Thank you again, Dr.
Anybody else?
Bundy.
Anybody else have any questions? Mm. I had one. I forgot. Mm.
But thank you so much, Dr. Bundy, again. You are welcome to stick around. We have Dr. Scott. Dr. Scott, this actually leads right into Dr. Scott. Dr. Scott is our resident nutritionist. So she preach all the time about the nutrients in these different foods. So thank you again. That just totally falls in line with what we're sharing on a regular basis. You're welcome to stick around, or we thank you, appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for
Yeah.
having me. I've got 4 kids I've got to go pick up.
Oh,
So I
oh wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you back on it. We're gonna have you back on again, Dr. Bundy.
Yes. Thank you so much.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bundy.
Dr. Scott,
Hey,
Yes,
Dr. Scott.
yeah.
we
Wow.
missed you.
Wow. I
Happy
miss
New
you
Year,
guys
Dr.
too.
Scott. How are you?
Wonderful,
Happy
wonderful.
New Year.
Happy New Year's. We're getting ready to do some new healthy things for this year. We all growing beautiful hair, eating differently, right?
Yeah.
And so I've decided to name this year the Big Salad Year. The Big
Okay.
Salad.
Okay.
We're making big salads, and surely you could eat it up before the day is finished, but we're making big salads, not just a salad. So buy you a special bowl, a special platter to put your big salad in, okay? I bought me a red one. Oh, it's just a beautiful platter. You'll see it soon. And that's what I put my big salad in. So we're making exciting salads because we need green stuff too, you know. So I was just taking some notes. Today has been one of those days. So you're just all over the place. And I just want to share in just a little bit, see if we could pull some more questions out of people, because, you know, when you have a doctor that comes in and pour it out like that,
Right.
you know, it's like what we're trying to do is like wake up people, you know. And so to wake up, you just want to hear the whole story. So, and there's never, you know, a question that's not good. So we'd love to have Dr. Gundy back. So I just wrote some notes, okay? And let's see if we could pull some more questions out. So I was just listening in there real deep at the end. She said, don't, and so I want to add, she may have said this already, but don't drink water with meals, because you're actually diluting those stomach acids,
Right.
you know? And that's something that we wouldn't want to do, is dilute those stomach acids. Especially alkaline water, you know, like you wouldn't want to drink alkaline water too close to the meals, because what is it going to do? Make the stomach alkaline instead of keeping it acidic.
Right.
So think about that one now. That's just a little no-no. Don't drink water too close to mealtime, like 20 minutes on the front side, an hour about on the back side of it. And especially when you pour all that alkaline water in there, it goes and gets rid of that acid that's trying to beat up that food so we can get our nutrition out of it. Okay? So think about that. Okay, now here's another little note. Blood type A's, we feel sorry for you, but you have less stomach acids coming out of the chute.
Yep.
Right.
So, you know, it's like we're not picking on you, but blood type A's just come out of the chute with less stomach acid. So I've heard one little thing that can kind of rev it up and beef it up a little bit, especially when you're always like this, little stomach aches all the time, is get up every morning, drink celery, organic celery juice. So you would want one of those juicers that you take the whole stalk of celery and just run it right in and gulp it right down. And I think a whole stalk comes to at least about 16 ounces of celery juice. You put that in there, it will restore those microbiomes in there. So let's get that done, okay? And so what is another really good food that builds that good bacteria in the colon? Ooh. And you know what? I decided I put my little twist on it. And I tried it out on some people. And it reminds me that I'm sitting at a bar. I don't even go to bars. I'm sitting at the bar and want to order another drink and another drink. but it's not quite a drink. It just tastes like a drink. So what it is, the food that feed the microbiomes, the good bacteria in the gut, are kiwis. So you peel the kiwi, and then you would get some salt, some of that Himalayan little big salt crystal, and grind it up on the sliced kiwi. Okay, you peel the kiwi, sliced it up, put a little salt, and now go grab some lime and squeeze it on that kiwi. It tastes like you're having a margarita that's got that lemon and lime. Oh my goodness. If you haven't tried it yet, you've got to try it, people. And it's going to really help with that gut, with increasing the good bacteria, the microbiomes. And because it's a food, it kind of helps with the balancing act of it because it's a live food. Kiwis, a tad bit of Himalayan salt with the minerals that we need so much.
Dr.
And
Scott,
yes,
got a question. She said, would there be a difference if lemon is squeezed instead of lime?
your choice. You know, I don't know how you take your margaritas, but whichever way, I'm just seasoned. Yeah, I think it's the same. You know, some people think that limes are a little higher, better than the lemons. It doesn't matter. You try it both ways. You will learn to love it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, while we kind of on that little subject is making sure, I don't know if Dr. Gundy talked about making sure you're having those regular eliminations.
Right.
Did she talk much about eliminating 1 for 1 meal in, 1 out?
No, we didn't get it. We didn't get into
Okay.
that. But
Well, look, let me just share this. The biggest next thing you could do for those microbiomes, the good bacteria, is to make sure that the waste never sits in that colon. So if you put in 3 meals today, it's likely we should send 3 out tomorrow for sure. And the best little way to start on that journey is start waking up every morning and just guzzling down 16 ounces of nicely warm water. Now, so if you got to guzzle it down, gulp it down.
Mhm.
What temperature is that going to be? Not lukewarm. We want it warmer than that. Don't put it in the microwave. Can we just heat it up where it would be like cold coffee, but it's still hot? It's just, you know, you want your coffee where you're just, you know, just sipping it, but you want it a little warmer than room temperature. As a matter of fact, just a little heat in it. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to cause your colon to flush. And when you start that, you're going to find out that as you put the food in, it's moving through, out, and gone. It's just keep the process going. That's what we are short on, people. We like to put it in and hang around too long. We've got a little acid reflux because we put the wrong combinations in together. It doesn't get assimilated properly, and it doesn't get eliminated properly.
Right.
Okay, so how do we make it assimilate a little bit, digest a little bit better? By putting the foods that like each other in together. Like meat, yes, we could put vegetables and more vegetables in with it. Okay, if we put starch in, we have to put vegetables and more vegetables with it. We never put meat with protein, with starch. Meats, starches, they don't go together in the stomach. They're not going to digest together. They need different enzymes.
Mhm.
So if you just kind of keep that in mind, we're already not drinking with our meals. And so then if you put meat on a salad, beautiful. That's a good thing to do. You put starch, you had a pasta meal, and you put vegetables with it. And so now that goes together really nice. Like rice with vegetables, perfect. As a matter of fact, rice is like a neutral food. You could eat it with meat or you could eat it with vegetables. That's the only starch like that. But if you have potatoes and have vegetables, they go together. But if you have meat and vegetables, they go together. It doesn't cause any disturbance in your stomach. But if you put meat on a piece of bread, oh, we got a problem. And we've got double acids, but they require different enzymes, and we've got a problem. And so they're not getting along in the stomach at all. So what we want to do
potatoes
is,
are not your friend.
yes, what you said, potatoes are not.
I said meat and potatoes are not your friend.
Oh, right. Meat and potatoes are not your friend as much as we want them to be our friends. Oh,
Right.
no, I know them. I've been friends with them. I bet you they're going to like you for a while and they will ditch you. And the next thing you know, you got congestion going on everywhere in your body. And it looks a little crazy what that looks like. This eases. And so we're putting the right combinations together so they digest together. And then the little pancreas know what enzymes to send over to break it down. Oh, we've got a potato with cruciferous vegetables. Oh, yes, we got potatoes with the salad. Oh, yes, here's the enzyme. And you didn't drink to kill, especially the alkaline water, to get rid of the acids, to break it down. Everything went perfect. Oh, wow. Just that simple. Okay. There are some foods that help too. Like you've heard of kimchi, you've heard of kombucha, and just lots of good minerals. It helps digestion. You know, like one of the foods that's on the market right now is the sea moss. It's loaded with minerals. Minerals always help with digestion. Okay. So we just like to eat foods in its natural state. It just makes it easier to digest as well when you put the whole food together. Like today, I made carrot juice, and then with the pulp of the carrots, I made a pate. As a matter of fact, you can see the remnants of it right here. That was a little sprout. So here we go. We've got carrot salad, okay? And we got beet salad, okay? And we got a bean chip. There's no gluten there. And so I just put it on a piece of lettuce, and there you go. It makes for a great little sandwich. It's all because you basically got beans, veggies. Okay. And wow. So we want to just start putting foods that like each other together. Never start with the protein. Okay, now, so we want to see, does anybody out there that has a digestive problem? And we could just look at your diet and tell you what's going on. And so I remember one of your former classmates back in the day, trichologist student. She had an autoimmune disease. And she was a blood type A. Yeah, poor little A's. And so what was going on? Yeah, her friend was the meat and potatoes. Oh, wow. Likely. Couldn't break them down. So the body got, she wasn't moving the food through and out. So the body stayed congested and toxic, and it built up, and it's sending out, congestion to all the body parts, and lupus showed up. Lupus. So how do you fix that? Well, when too much acid foods are put in and they're not moved through, then yes, it could even create an autoimmune diseases, like lupus or sarcoidosis, fibromyalgia, like that. And so what we did, we just switched her diet to help out. Because she had low stomach acid, we just put foods that was easy to digest, foods that actually brought enzymes in with it. I think so. You know what I did? I said, can I help you? I want to feed you foods that are loaded with enzymes They come in with the enzymes. So I never went to the stove to make her food. I literally fed her 2 smoothies a day and like an entree, maybe a side salad. She said, look, I've got enough food. We don't need side dishes. Just an entree and 2 smoothies. And guess what? 5 weeks, just 5 little weeks, her doctor put her out of her office. She said, you don't have lupus anymore. In other words, she brought in the foods that was easier to digest for her. And it caused the body to have enough time to heal itself. So if you're out there suffering, like, hey, turn yourself in tonight. Let's ask a question here. Let's turn up the volume and see if we could get some help for you. And so while we are coming up with these questions, just another situation that happened, acid reflux. Oh, I never knew it was such a traumatic experience to have this reflux thing. She said, I want to strangle my doctor because the doctor weren't sharing. What are you doing to cause it? She had proper elimination, she thought, but however, it just wasn't complete. We want good, complete elimination. Put the food in, digest it, assimilate, move it all out. And so when she called me, she asked me, I need help. So I said, well, tell me what you ate today. I had hard-boiled eggs. No, not easy to digest. You want soft-boiled eggs. Boil it for no more than 5 minutes. You could let it sit for a minute and then put cold water. That's it. She had a hard-boiled egg, gluten bread with maybe raisins in it. And then she had alkaline coffee. Already you're saying, hey, that's enough. How are you going to put alkaline coffee in there in a meal? It's just going to put out the fire in the belly. Plus she had a starch with a protein. And guess what? So the problem, she called me up when she's in the middle of it. And so guess what? I said, I can't help you today because you got the wrong foods in your stomach. And so I said, you have an assignment. Tomorrow morning, you wake up, warm up. You're going to warm up something equivalent to this, which is 16 ounces of warm water. Warm it up and gulp it down. So when she called me, she said, I'm just finishing it. Sounds like it took a long time. Gulping is like, you turn it up, it's finished. So I said, so tell me what happened. She said, she took the water, she put it in the microwave. Whoa, in the microwave? Okay. So apparently she got it too hot, so she's sipping on it, sipping. Okay, I said, look, do this for me. Get another 8 ounces, and just 8 ounces this time, and warm it up and just gulp it down. Okay, so she had a total of 24 ounces. And by the time she did that, guess what happened? She started eliminating, okay? And normally she would eliminate 3 times a day. She eliminated 9 times that day. And some really, really foul odors came out. Where were they hiding all of this time? So sometimes we think that there's no waste in there, but it's out here in these pockets.
Right.
And so that's what makes some of that stuff leak through and get out into the system. We don't want that waste to leak through. We want to send it out. So we always making sure we put right combinations of foods together. And so after pooping 9 times that day, she hadn't heard from acid reflux since. It's like, I don't have that problem anymore. Oh, that was an easy, cheap fix. We need more of this information. So I want to thank you, you guys. You're the perfect team. Just keep bringing this information. That's what we want to do in 2021. We want everybody to tell everybody, share, share, share. Nobody's going to be selfish and private about this information because we want to live and we want somebody to tell us we were on the wrong trail. So let me just do a little quick one because we got to have that question. We got to have another question tonight. What is this? This is dark chocolate. We got these little chocolate discs. They have just little round dark chocolate. They have stem cells in them. They help your body create stem cells. What do stem cells do? Fix problems. What's your problem? So dark chocolate, 100% dark chocolate, called cacao. Go grab it at the grocery store and just eat some every day. It helps you to increase your stem cells in your body. You didn't have to pay premium price once you got in trouble. Hey, stay out of trouble. Eat cacao, dark chocolate. It's not sweet, please. And so, wow, here's watermelon. You know, it's one of those crazy little foods. You can't eat it with other foods. So you got to learn how to get along with this baby. You eat it alone or you leave it alone. So it digests in just 10 minutes. Okay.
That's a big,
So if you,
that's
yeah,
a big watermelon, Dr. Scott.
it is. It does look good, doesn't it? And so, hey, come on over. Let's chop it up and we can eat it up. Mhm. So now let's go for some oils and fats. And then we want to get that question. When we think about a mayonnaise, it could have the wrong oil in it. Like it could have vegetable oil. And it's going to cause that trans fatty acids, the trans fat that cause inflammation in the body, you know. And it could look like an autoimmune disease or anything like that. It causes things to hurt and get inflamed. So if you're not buying like a grape oil like that, or making your own, then we want to be careful with oils, vegetable oils. Vegetable oil is a no-no. When you see something is cooked in vegetable oil, too much heat, it's going to create inflammation in the body. So we're just trying to be careful. But look, do we have a question? Anybody asking a question in the chat room yet? Anybody have any kind of pain? Anybody have lupus, sarcoidosis, fibromyalgia, arthritis? You want to feel better and you want to know what's in your diet that you could change. And so there's no one? No.
No, not right. Not
I see
today.
something online. It says, is the kiwi with the salt good for all blood types?
And you know what? I know that's a crazy little answer. It sure is going to taste good for all blood types. But I believe so. I think there's one blood type that may. But look, try it. I would say try it. It's like there's one thing that we break the rules on a couple of things. If you were congested in your chest, like had a chest cold, in your bronchi, in your sinuses, in your head, you just had this mucus. There's one way to get rid of it, and it's called eating the juice, only the juice out of 2 oranges every hour. You do it all day, no food, do it for 2 days. You can do it a minimum of 5 times, but up to 15 times in a day. You can do it every hour you do it. You just get the juice out of 2 oranges and chase it with 6 ounces of distilled water. At every time you do it during the day, guess what happens? All the mucus seems like it's leaving. By the time you get to the end of that second day, it's like, where's my cold? Where's my congestion? Where's my cough? There is no cough. But guess what? O's can't do oranges, but it sure will get rid of that mucus. Okay. And so that's not the best answer, but we've got to get those microbiomes healthy in that colon, people. Yes. What's we got? Hey, is that your son? Say, hey, come, Mom.
Yeah.
They've had enough of you. I need you.
Right.
Yes.
Well, it was a really good show, and this was our first one for 2021, and we have a new format um, for 2021. As you know, we started out where we were doing it once a week. So for 2021, this year, we're going to be every second Wednesday of the month. Um, and this will allow for us to have longer time frames for our guests that we have, and be able to have more guests, special guests, when we do our lives. So the same great information, um, longer time frame.
Wow. So
So
you can fix some people, help them to see things clearly. Is that right?
yes,
Just
like
try
what
it on the show. It'll be
right.
like the Jerry Springer show.
Yes, yes. The information is still going to be good. The training is still going to be good. You'll still be able to reach us, ask questions. All of our contact information is still the same, and we just hope that you continue to, you know, join us live on the shows. You can also catch our shows on YouTube. If they would be on our YouTube channels, we all have YouTube channels, plus um, the What We Know Now Wednesdays YouTube channel also. So
We're hoping to be a little bit more interactive with allowing, like we did today, having just a viewer or audience member come right in on the Zoom and ask the questions. Hopefully, we can get someone to actually show the video as well. So we would love to be able to do more of that for this coming year as well. So
yes,
so
yep,
please come in on the Zoom. We can answer your questions live on the spot. Dr. Scott obviously will be available, and then, of course, our guest as well.
yes.
Yep.
So thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
Look for us next month, as we'll have new guests and more information.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Scott, as always.
Love
Mm.
you, Dr.
Thank you, Dr.
Scott.
Scott.
The watermelon is really good.
It looks good
It
too.
I
looks
bet it
good.
is.
It's big too, especially for this late in the year. Where did you find that?
Mm.
She's too busy eating it. She's too busy eating it.
uh, Mouthful.
Yes. Thank you. Mm, 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 mm.
All right, everybody.
I enjoyed the show.
Yeah, it was good stuff. My head is full.
Tune in next week, same time, same place.
See you guys in February.